One of my favorite quotes is from Ayn Rand, where she says, "You cannot or you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality." And we, in this country, we've been ignoring reality, as most of you are aware, economically, socially, politically, for a long time. And I think, in some ways, that's starting to turn around because when money tightens, you have to make more economical decisions. And one of the beautiful things about the economy and the free market is that you get to vote every day. You get to vote every day with what you purchase and what you don't purchase, who you support, who you don't support. However, what has distorted that is free, easy, cheap money. Because free, easy, cheap money allows the government, not just individuals, to take on more debt. And the government fills the gap. Government fills the gap with subsidies. Government fills the gap with, hey, no need to work. We'll give you a stimmy check. Government is able to fill the gap by ignoring reality, which is you cannot print productivity. You cannot print your way through idiocy, whether it comes to ESG movement. Hey, we need to save the planet. Hey, but China lives on the same planet as us. So if we're dropping our carbon emissions by a quarter and they're raising theirs by double, how does this help anybody? It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, we need to care. So again, we've been ignoring reality for a long period of time. And as money tightens, some of these virtue signaling money managers who weren't using math and were using virtue signals to invest are changing their tune. This includes Larry Fink of BlackRock. He's changed his tune to some degree on ESG. Isn't that interesting? So let's take a look at this article here from Zero Hedge. And it talks about Larry Fink not so keen on the ESG movement. I wonder why. I know, money's tightening. Money is tightening. Okay, so let's read here. As regular as the turn of the season, each January sees Larry Fink, founder and CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, which makes you more powerful than a lot of politicians, some say, including the president, publishes a lengthy letter on the state of the world and its implications for the financial investors. This year, in January, turned to February, and still no letter. However, Tim Buckley, CEO of Vanguard, global number two asset manager, gave a groundbreaking interview explaining Vanguard's decision late last year to quit the net zero asset manager initiative. Why? Why? Ask yourself why. Why now? Okay. Which has been formed ahead of which was formed ahead of the 2021 Glasgow Climate Conference to reallocate capital in line with net zero emission targets. All right. So my 2 cents is they stopped doing this because money is getting tighter around the world. Lending needs to be more scrupulous if you're a bank. If you're an investor, you cannot just throw money around because we don't have 0% interest rates anymore. Reading further, it would be hubris to presume that we know the right strategy for thousands of companies that Vanguard invests in, said Buckley. This is the guy that works at Vanguard. It would be hubris to assume that it's the right strategy for Vanguard to know how these companies should be run. By the way, that's what they've been doing. They've been allocating some of their investments based off of ESG. Hey, are you a coal mining company? Sorry, can't invest in you. Sorry. And by proxy, that's what they're doing with their customers' funds, because most customers are not active in the market. They hand money to a Vanguard and they put it in an ETF. So they have these big pools of capital to work with. Buckley further warned investors against expecting superior returns from environmental, social, and governance investing. Who could have told you that? I don't know. Anyone with a brain. Anyone with a brain. If it requires subsidies from the government, that means it's not profitable. Hello? And he writes, or he says, Buckley from Vanguard, our research indicates that ESG investing does not have any advantages over broad-based investing. And yet, 2 years ago, when the money was flowing, they were all saying, hey, you know what we need to do? Carbon neutral, blah, blah, blah. Money's tightening up. You cannot be stupid anymore. Okay? You can ignore reality. You cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And if it's not profitable, you could put a Band-Aid over it by printing money. That's only temporary. When the money tightens, you have to think long and hard. Do I want to go out of business by investing in stupid, unprofitable garbage? Or do I want to use my brain? And self-preservation is one of those instincts that's pretty powerful. So a lot of this on both sides, whether it was the, hey, I want to be pro ESG and da 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 da, it's all about money. Where's the money flowing? Sometimes they acquiesce to the government because the government is pushing free, easy, cheap money based off of ESG BS. Stimulus, they're giving out grants based off your ESG score. It's all BS. And as the market contracts even more, you're going to see even more stupidity gone. It's gone. It's not coming back because you're forced to reckon with reality, which is if you're an investor, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. Let's keep reading here. All right. Writing 5 days later in the Wall Street Journal, Terence Keeley, a former BlackRock executive and author of Sustainable, zeroed in on the conflict of interest highlighted in Vanguard's departure from the net zero asset manager. Swept along by climate change fervor, an investment manager can't make such commitments without reneging on its financial duties, fiduciary duties, rather. You, as an asset manager, have the goal to invest in the most profitable company for your clients. And so, if you're going on a renegade mission because you want carbon zero in the world and it's not profitable, you are reneging on your fiduciary duties. Now, if you're a pro net zero, great. Invent something. Work on it. Work on making the world a better place. You don't tear down the. This is what always got me about it. You don't tear down the current energy grid and destroy it, and have other countries be building twice as much, emitting twice as much greenhouse gases, and call it a W. It's not a win, folks. A lot of technology out there. I think we can use it, but it has to be more dense, cheaper. What about nuclear? No one ever talks about that in the ESG movement. Wonder why. All right. Further reading here. 2 years ago, BlackRock made a blunt demand of the companies that it invested in. We're asking that. That's an instruction that you can hardly say no to the world's largest investor. So they're asking companies they invest in, by the way. So you don't get money from us unless you do these things. Companies to disclose the plan on how their business model would be compatible with a net zero economy. I've heard a lot of rumblings about this politically because, like, Florida, other states had their state treasury invested with BlackRock, and they pulled it from BlackRock because they thought this was dumb. Because it was. This hasn't been entirely walked back. BlackRock Fink says has been vocal in the past about companies disclosing how they plan to navigate the energy transition, but the tone is now softer and less vocal. It's not the role of an asset manager like BlackRock to engineer a particular outcome in the economy, Fink writes. Again, Fink is probably a person who cares about the color green. Okay. So whether it's ESG, oh, I care about ESG. Why? Because the government's giving me money and grants based off me pretending to care about ESG. Okay, money's tightening up. I less care about ESG now because the government's not giving me any money for it. And my clients think ESG is unprofitable garbage because it is. So again, when the financial world, a lot of the stupidity you see out there, all comes from economically illiterate people that think they can print productivity, and that's why this whole government in charge of fiat can distort so many things. It distorts incentives. Because the free market has a way of correcting your behavior if you're being dumb, right? If you want to sell unprofitable garbage like ESG, like I'm selling wind turbines that cost 17 times more than petroleum products and they emit half as much energy. If I'm selling those to the economy, no one's going to buy them. No one. So I would have to think long and hard, go back to the drawing board, make a better invention, make it cheaper, better, right? But then the government comes in and is like, hey, we'll subsidize your stupid project. and then they get investors, and that stupidity is able to continue until the money dries up, and which, silver lining, as the consequences of the behavior of the last 3 years come throughout the economy, less and less stupidity will be allowed when it comes to the economy because there is no more free lunch. There's no more free money coming from the government. All right, let's read the rest of this and then we'll close this out here. Fink's emphasis has changed too. 2 years ago, Fink compared climate change with the pandemic as an existential threat, exposing the fragility of society. This year, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, heightened geopolitical tensions bring national economy security to front and center, so he says. The crisis Fink highlights in this year's letter is not the climate crisis, but a silent crisis of people not saving and investing sufficiently for their retirements. So he has changed his tune because he is an investment manager, or at least he runs BlackRock, and BlackRock is in the business of making a return on capital, which is a lot harder to do today. This money's not getting pumped in the economy. And since there's inflation, people aren't able to save and give more money to BlackRock. Results of an Edelman Trust Barometer survey asked whether people thought their families would be better off in 5 years were at all-time lows, 24 out of 28 countries. When people are afraid, they may save, but they won't invest, Fink observes. See why his tone is changing? We need leaders today who will give people reasons to be hopeful, who can articulate a vision of a brighter future. I've got one. You, BlackRock, not investing in unprofitable garbage. The government not giving you 0% loans so you can buy up people's houses. You playing by a different set of rules than the average American has to. You're able to use capitalism during the money coming in and socialism if it goes out. Ask the government for help. That seems like a brighter future to me. Love to know what you guys think in the comments below. I do love that reality checks are coming. Reality checks are coming throughout the United States, and all this stupid investing. It's been going on the last couple of years. Gonna end because money's getting tighter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you on the next one. Peace.